Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. I'm your host, River Lee, founder of the Savvy Groomer, where I teach you guys to go from being burnt out, broken, to healthy, wealthy, and happy, building a grooming business on your terms. So let's go ahead and hop right into today's topic. So, do you need a budget or do you need a price increase? Right? So let's start first with the importance of what a written budget is. So here at the Savvy Groomer, we talk about the roadmap to financial success. So the very first step when you're doing that is a written budget. So this may seem really tedious and, I know you're like, I don't want to budget, but it's really, really important, guys. You're going to write your budget down. And I know I sound like a broken record, but when you're writing it down, I want you to remember that I'm here like your grooming instructor, mentoring your groom. And guess what? Your groom is only as good as your bath is. Okay. So if you have bad prep work, it's really, really hard for you to have a good groom, right? And that is the same way with your personal budget, a written budget, and your finances. Okay. So the truth of the matter is when you write your budget down, and I do it every month. I know it sounds really silly and you're like, no, you don't. Yes, I do. And the reason I do it is because it gives me permission to send. I am setting up a contract with myself. What I'm doing is I'm holding myself to my word of honor. So when I overspend, right, in the eyes of somebody else, it's irrelevant because I agreed with myself. This was the amount of money I was going to spend in order to enjoy myself, have fun, pay bills, save, and do all of that. Okay. So one quote I love is Rachel Cruz says, your budget gives you permission to spend money. So a great example is I spend way too much money on Starbucks. Okay. I have a monthly budget of $600. Now, if I don't spend all that money, the extra money goes right into my vacation fund. So if I literally get $6 coffees, right? And let's do the math really quick together. Let's take out our good old calculator. If I buy $6 coffees, I have $600, right? $600, we're going to divide that by $6. I could literally buy 100 coffee divided by 30 days. I could buy 3 coffees every single day and never hit my budget or just hit my budget. Okay. And actually, because it's 3.33, if I bought 3 lattes a day, I still wouldn't hit that budget. So I'm setting myself up to indulge and take really good care of myself. And either way, I win. Okay. So let's remember, whether you're a mobile groomer or you have a grooming salon, it's a place of chaos, right? Things are always changing. It's a dance between having a system and acknowledging that system only works with flexibilities. It's the same thing with your budget. Okay. We often call your budget the appointment book for your finances. If you had an appointment book and you never actually did anything, right? So if you had an appointment book and you just wrote down all the names and what the dogs were and just let them show up whenever they wanted to, your whole shop would be chaos. Okay. So let's assume you've decided to spend only $200 a month on food, and then you realize you simply can't eat ramen every night. And I see this happen all the time where people are going to go on these really, really lean monthly budgets, and then they really screw up because they're like, okay, I thought I could live on like $4 a day, and that doesn't buy anything anymore. Okay. It's okay to admit to yourself, maybe that was a bit too ambitious, right? And you can always go back and take from one category and fill it into another, as long as the budget is still a $0 left over. Okay. So you're in complete control of your budget. And without it, you're probably not going to know how much money you've spent so far. Your written down budget is the difference between you guessing and you knowing. And again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so true. So now this is the first step on the roadmap to financial success. And I highly suggest you watch all the episodes on our roadmap series. That way you can see where you are personally on that step, on that journey. And again, I know budgets are boring to do, but it's so important for you to actually do it. And if you need help, don't worry about it. I do have a class. It is a 12-week or 12 module class called Personal Finance Unleashed, where we teach you to go from surviving to living to thriving. We teach you how to create a personal budget. We teach you how to do a zero-based budget, and we help you create habits in place. That way you can live in a way that is on your terms, within your budget, but also working towards long-term goals. And if you're like most groomers, you actually make a lot of money. You just need that money to work for you. Now, on the flip side, should I increase my prices? Well, the first question you have to ask is, are you actually profitable? And that's not always as clear cut as an answer as you'd like it to be. We tend to talk about percentages instead of just dollar amounts, okay? And because everyone has a different opinion on what is a good amount of money, right? And what's not a good amount of money. So Wikipedia.com defines net profit as the profit you make after deducting the cost of providing your services, okay? So I always suggest about 30% should go to payroll. And guess what? That includes you for doing the work that you're doing in your business. Ideally, you'd be setting aside 15 to 25% for taxes, 15 to 25, pretty normal for overhead, depending upon if you have a shop or a mobile, if you've paid off your van, et cetera. I would say 5 to 25% for debt or sinking funds towards upgrades. So that's anywhere between 65% and 105%. So even with using the 30% metric for payroll, you could easily actually lose money. So if you consider 45 to 60% payroll, right, that would be 80 to 135%. It's not a lot of meat in the bone. If you're at 100% or above your metrics, that means that you don't get any return on your investment besides just owning your job. Because don't forget that payroll we want to pay ourselves out of for doing the work that we do. But we also want to make money for investing the same way that if you invest in a house and you rent it out, you want to earn more money than what you've invested. If you invest in the stock market, you want a return on that money. Okay. And I always talk about owning a job because you could just go and work for somebody else and make the same or more a lot of times. It doesn't make sense to own your job. You're putting up so much more risk. You are at risk of the IRS auditing you. You're at risk of liability. You're at the risk of all of the things that come with business ownership, not to mention all the extra work, right? Because it's not just going in, grooming your dogs, leaving, you get sick, you call out, your boss deals with it, right? There's so much more when you're a business owner. So let me ask you, what is the average grooming ticket that you guys have? Now, this means the average dog that walks in your shop. So I tend to use a Shih Tzu or Yorkie 5 all over or 1/2 inch on the body with a round teddy bear face as my average dog. And the reason I do that is I actually like to do the lowest groom price that I would, not bath and tidies, but actual groom prices. I like to start there. That way, when I'm organizing my prices in my head, I have a standing point for where I'm going. Okay. So just for easy math, let's say the average of that dog would be $50. Okay. So let's say this dog also takes about an hour if we were to do the dog straight through. Okay. So at $50 an hour, that means that your groomer at 30% would need to earn about $15 an hour. So if minimum wage in your area is only $10, then that's okay money, right? It's okay. But if it's $15 an hour, then you're going to have one pissed off groomer or you're not going to have any staff, right? So let's say instead that you're going to charge $60, right? And the same thing is going to take an hour. That means that your groomer would only be earning $18 an hour, okay? And at $70, that would be $21 an hour for your groomer. And this is assuming that is the only person working on the dogs. There's no receptionist, there's no bather, etc. And it's only taking an hour. So we want to make sure that we are paying ourselves and our groomer a livable wage. And this means different things in different areas. Okay. So for instance, if you charge $100 or $105 for your small dog grooms and it takes about an hour, that would be $31.50 an hour. that would be a better price point if you live in an area that people have to make more money. So let's work through another example. So let's look at a normal grooming salon, normal grooming salon that pays 50% commission. So let's say you have 2 groomers and each groom 8 dogs a day at $50 a dog. That's $800 in gross profit and $400 in payroll total. So each groomer is making about $200. Okay. You have a bather and a receptionist that's there for about 10 hours. So basically, they come in for an hour before the groomer and they leave after an hour of prepping and cleaning. That bather makes $15 an hour. So that's $150 a day. The receptionist makes $10 an hour. So it's $100 a day. So again, the gross profit. So that is everything that the shop brought in is $800, right? And when you add in, right, the $400 from each of your groomers, the $150 from your bather, and the $100 from your receptionist, right? That's $650. That means that the shop owner only took in $150 to pay all the other bills and get a return on their investment. This is less than 20%. Now, taxes, and I know I'm way oversimplifying. But we need to even just talk about this. Like, don't get into the nitty gritty. You're not doing any of this math anyway. So don't come at me. So let's say taxes on the gross, would be 15 to 25%, depending upon what you write off and what tax bracket. I know. But for easy math, let's say 15 to 25%. Okay. At best, they paid their employees and covered their taxes. And it didn't cover overhead, any of your own pay, because I'm sure you were there working all day, right? And it didn't pay off any debt or save any money towards sinking funds or an emergency fund. They literally made enough to pay their employees, groom all these dogs, and pay their taxes. So break even at best. Now, if there was ever a time to increase prices, the time is now to fix your ratios and actually make your business profitable. You should own a business and not just own your job. Okay. So if you're looking at your budget and saying, okay, my metrics are off, then it's time to actually increase those prices or restructure them. A lot of people assume that the price increase masterclass is all about, assume it's just about increasing your prices. But a lot of times it's taking a look at what services make sense for my businesses, what services don't. Am I undercharging for big dogs, but I'm charging appropriately for little dogs? Am I adding things like dematting and more exotic haircuts, right? Are these breed standard haircuts being charged appropriately? Or do I really need to evaluate if this is something we can offer? The price increase masterclass is there for you to figure out what the hell is going on in your business and help you figure out your metrics and decide where you're going financially in your business. And it's really up to you to decide, is it a situation where you need to pay attention to where all that money is going, or are your metrics off and you need to figure out what the next step is for you in your business? So I hope this was helpful. I know this is a lot of numbers. It's a lot to think about. I try to find a balance between helping you guys out and figuring out what you're doing, but also guiding you. But this one, you have to look in, you have to consider, am I making a lot of money and just blowing it in my personal life? Or do I need to restructure my business and really take a look at those things? Only and I will say that, personal finance on a leash and price increase masterclass go together like peanut butter and jelly. They're great classes. I generally suggest that people take your price increase masterclass first, get a handle on your business, know where that's going, and then take personal finance on a leash. However, if you feel like that you need to hunker down and really look at what's going on in your personal life, that you're overspending, or if you look at your business and you're like, my business is making a whole lot of money and I have no idea where I'm going, or if you are using your business like your own personal piggy bank, okay, Either way, I'm here for you guys. You guys can always, reach out to me. I'm here to support you. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode of Grow Wealthy Grooming. Be sure to visit me at savvygroomer.com. That's SAVVY groomer.com to see my current opportunities to work with me in growing your pet grooming business. And feel free, there's lots of free resources like this video for you to check out. And also check out my free Facebook community, Savvy Pet Professionals. So there we talk about business, lifestyle, and how best to support each other. All right, guys, it was so great to see you. And as always, happy grooming.